Hello, my name is Anitra, and this is my good friend Craig. So glad to have you with me. Craig is the president of Water Pure Technologies here in Utah, and Craig's been in the emergency preparedness industry for over 18 years. So he comes with a lot of knowledge and wisdom. I thought it'd be great to have him come and talk to us about the four most common mistakes that people make when purifying or storing their water. So listen up, because he's got some great things to share with us today.
Okay, first of all, there's several mistakes that people make in storing water in whatever type of containers that they decide to use. First of all, they use a garden hose, which is not a good way of doing it, because this garden hose has been sitting out in the heat, in the sun, breeds bacteria, and it's not properly flushed out in order to fill your container. Secondly, water coming from the wrong sources, even wells, rivers, lakes, even rainwater, because of the bacteria it's inherent with those type of things. Third, they think that the only way that they can eliminate the contamination of water is through bleach. And there are many other ways that you can purify the water besides the bleach. Fourth, proper cleaning of the materials that you're using for the containers, which is chlorine bleach, rinsing them out and making them so that they're sterile in order to accept the water that you're putting in there. So I'd like to introduce our emergency water treatment kit, which contains all the necessary ingredients to make your water safe. First of all, there's a bottle of sodium hypochlorite solution. Secondly, a bottle of copper and silver ion solution concentrate. And third, a little tiny bottle. This is our reagent or test kit, which contains the reagent plus a vial to test in.
So you're saying that we can actually test our water once we've put the drops in to know that it's pure. That's a pretty great system.
Well, it's the only thing out there right now that allows you to test the water before you drink it. And that's one of the major things, because if something is contaminated the water after you've treated it initially, there's no way to test it right now. And so this allows you to test the water before you drink it and know that it is safe.
Perfect. Okay, so why don't you take us through the steps?
Okay, first of all, this treatment kit will do over 300 gallons of water.
Wow, that's 6 55-gallon drums.
Right. And so what this allows you to do is you can use them either together as a synergistic chemical system, or you can use them separately depending on what you'd like to do. So the chlorine itself does over 275 gallons. The copper silver ion does over 330 gallons. And so it could technically be over 500 gallons of treated water. But if you prefer not to use the chlorine, you just have to wait 24 hours for the copper silver, and you can use that alone. Okay, typically a lot of people use just the sodium hypochlorite to treat their water, and that is great. It'll treat it against viruses and bacteria. But as long as you've filled your containers with the proper hoses that are potable water hoses and not contaminated with bacteria that could be present in your garden hose, that'd be great. The only problem with this is chlorine gases off or is not effective after 24 hours. So anything that contaminates the water after that period of time, you would not know, because there's no way to test it for that. So that's one problem with the sodium hypochlorite in a long-term storage basis. So the reason we use the reason we use the copper silver ion solution is because once put into the water storage, it is a continual treatment throughout the life of the water in the tank. We know it'll go 5+ years, but it's typically much longer than that, and stays in solution and continues to treat the water, even if it's cross-contaminated, somebody reaches in, or whatever the cross-contamination might be.
So you're saying, Craig, that you can put this in your 55-gallon drums or your 5-gallon containers, and 5 years, don't worry about it. You don't even have to rotate it out every year like we normally do.
Oh yeah, it's the only one out there that you can test and feel safe that you're drinking something that's clean and pure. Well, a lot of countries in Europe have actually eliminated chlorine in their swimming pools and other places like that. They'll use chlorine at a minimal amount, and then use other expensive machinery to treat the water with the silver and copper sulfate solution. Okay, a little bit of information behind our new entry into the marketplace here. It's been developed over the last 7 years, and the head of the project was former chairman of one of the university's chemical engineering department. It's a patented process where it allows the copper silver ions to stay in suspension versus participate out of the water, so it provides a constant treatment throughout the time you have your water storage. It's endorsed by the Commander of U.S. Public Health Service, retired. He uses it all the time to treat his water, and does a great job. Okay, we talked earlier about our emergency water storage treatment kit, but the next product coming out, or the sister product to this, is our new H2o Fix for spas, hot tubs. It's a different concentration than our copper silver ion in this. Typically what you do is treat the water with chlorine, and that'll gas off within 24 hours. And then from then on, you'll treat it with this. It's called H2o Fix. And typically, from all the tests we've done, we've had 0 coliforms and bacteria even after 2 weeks for people using this. Also, their skin doesn't shrivel up. It's much softer skin, and allows you to stay in the hot tub longer for those that like to. And it will be a great alternative to what you've been using. And we look forward to launching this within the next 2 weeks.
So Craig, a quick question. How often would you have to use that in your hot tub or swimming pool?
Again, you can test the water, and if you tested the water and it still shows the residual copper silver ion in there, you're fine. Once it drops, then you'll have to retreat.
And can you use then, a lot of people have swimming pools, can they use their swimming pools as drinking water for emergency if they had to?
Sure.
Using this product?
You bet. You would rather use the copper silver concentration that's in this one,
okay,
and then use the filters to take out the chlorine taste if you don't like the chlorine flavor.